Coming up on Citrus TV News, former mayoral candidate Juanita Perez-Williams is one step closer to earning a spot on Capitol Hill.
And Mike Pompeo took questioning today from the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Find out what happened in the 5-hour hearing.
We're 2 weeks into April and we're finally seeing those showers that this month is known for. I'll tell you how long this rain is going to stick around later in the show. Citrus TV News starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
The Mayfest lineup is coming to Syracuse soon. Hello, I'm Conor Wight.
And I'm Jack Watson. University Union and Citrus TV will announce the Mayfest lineup on Juice and Java Mayfest special airing live tomorrow at noon.
All 4 of our lovely Juice and Java hosts will be with representatives of UU to discuss who is performing, as well as new features available to students throughout the day. You
can watch this special event on our website, Channel 14.1, and on our Facebook and Twitter pages. A brand new show is in the works at Syracuse Stage. You might not have heard about it. It's not even on the Syracuse Stage website.
We have our very own Anna Azallion in studio to tell us more.
Yeah, guys, that new musical is Fly More Than You Fall, and it's in the early stages of development at Syracuse Stage right now. SU drama students got the opportunity to be in the cast and crew of the show, and I spoke with the director and composer about how this musical came to be and where it's headed next.
That's Davina Sobnis. She plays Malia, the protagonist in a brand new musical, finishing its workshop debut at Syracuse Stage this weekend.
Fly More Than You Fall is a story about a young girl, Malia, who's a writer, and she is dealing with her mother's cancer diagnosis, and the only way she knows how, by writing a story. And she writes a story about a little bird who falls out of a nest and cannot fly, and she's on her quest and adventure to get her way home.
The story came from the minds of 2 men who met at Indiana University, Nat Zagree and Eric Holmes. The 2 have worked together for years, creating at least 2 other musicals.
It was when I met Eric that we kind of found this chemistry between us and said, I think we can really create awesome stories together.
One of these stories is Fly More Than You Fall. Both Zagree and Holmes, the writer of the musical, have a personal connection to the story because they've each lost a parent. This is why Zagree says they want to show the grieving process in a creative way.
We wanted to be able to tell a story that kind of artistically shows what the grieving process is like for not only adults, but most importantly for children.
The musical is still in the early stages of development. The shows this weekend are an opportunity for the creators to see the show in action and make changes. Whiting says these changes come from things he and Zagree notice aren't working, and from the audience.
I watch their body language a lot when they get lost, when they're making contact with their face, meaning they're probably bored in some way.
Whiting says the show is headed to Broadway, but how long will it take to get there? Whiting says it depends on the show, but Fly More Than You Fall is unique.
So you never know exactly when it's going to hit, but I have a good feeling about this one. It's going to go pretty fast.
Now, unfortunately, the show is sold out this weekend, but there will be more opportunities to see it. The creators of the show are headed back to New York City, where they say the show will appear again.
So Anna, what are the next steps for the musical?
Yeah, so like I said, the creators are headed back to New York City. From there, they'll continue to rewrite the show, continue to perfect it. After that, they'll do a read-through with New York actors, and then they'll do another set of workshop productions similar to what's been happening at Syracuse Stage over the last 2 weeks, but these will be New York actors, and they're going to invite Broadway producers and investors to this show with the hopes that it makes it all the way to Broadway soon.
Well, Anna, we'll certainly be keeping track of the show as it heads to Broadway. Thanks so much, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A full-page ad filled with a list of names of female professors from SU appeared in the Daily Orange on Tuesday. The ad ran on Equal Pay Day, and it criticized the university for not doing enough to minimize what they say is a gap in pay between men and women. In December, the university released a report that said, on average, male professors made more than their female coworkers. The Office of Academic Affairs is planning on making adjustments, but female faculty members want the process to be transparent so everyone knows what's going on. And according to a Syracuse University spokesperson, the school suspended a student charged with rape. The 21-year-old arts and sciences student is accused of raping a 19-year-old woman in a university-owned apartment. The SU spokesperson says the university learned of the student's arrest and issued an immediate interim suspension.
Student association elections are underway. Citrus TV reporter James Groh sat down with the presidential and vice presidential team in the last installment of our 3-part SA candidate series.
SA president and vice presidential candidates Katie Ellsweigh and Ryan Houck have 3 main goals they want to accomplish.
Which is promoting diversity empowering student voices and advocating for student needs.
These goals take many forms, big and small, like hiring more staff for international students.
The amount of resources and funding for those students hasn't risen proportionally, so we think that there should be more staff at the Writing Center, more staff at the Slutzker Center.
And promoting sustainability by partnering with SU's neighbor, ESF.
And we know they run great sustainability, and we would definitely partner with them because they're right across the street and they have more knowledge in that area than we do over here.
And while many students don't even know what SA does for them, Ellsweigh and Houck want to make SA more noticeable on campus.
What we want to do instead is take those office hours, and assembly members can go to the office, be there, or they can take an hour, they can go to an RSO meeting, they can go to a freshman forum, they can go to a floor meeting.
It's not office hours, but engagement hours.
We want to represent the student body, and together we don't perfectly represent, and I don't think any of our candidates do. So I think a big thing is getting out there, learning what the student body needs, because you can't call yourself a representative of the student body when you don't know everything about what the student body wants and needs.
At times, it's been tough, they said, but in the end, they're all smiles. SA elections are online, and voting begins Monday, April 19th. Go to your MySlice account to vote. James Groh, Citrus TV.
That's the final piece in our three-part series on the SA candidates. Today is the last day of voting. Students who still want to vote for any of the candidates can do so on MySlice until midnight tonight.
And New York State English tests have been delayed due to a computer system malfunction. About 25,000 students across central New York from grades 3 to 8 were affected. Students have to take the mandatory test by the 20th of April. The problem is being addressed, but school officials are more concerned with the long-term reliability of the system. And today, the Seneca Nation filed a lawsuit against New York State. The lawsuit accuses the state of breaking federal laws when it built a toll road through one of the Seneca Nation's reservations. The Buffalo News says the Seneca Nation claims the state did not get federal approval more than 60 years ago when it built a 2.7-mile section of the New York State Thruway through their land. The Senecas demand that the New York State pay them for the use of their land and stop collecting tolls on their territory.
And former Syracuse mayoral candidate Juanita Perez Williams has cleared a major hurdle in her 24th district congressional run. The candidate collected nearly 3 times the minimum required signatures to appear on the ballot in November. The move does not guarantee that Perez Williams will earn a spot against Democrat Dana Balter. Candidates will have 3 days to review the signatures and can challenge them with the Board of Elections. If the signatures are ruled valid, Balter and Williams will face each other in a primary late in June. And another former mayoral candidate is throwing his hat in the ring for office, this time for governor. Green Party activist Houck will seek his party's nomination to challenge Democratic incumbent Andrew Cuomo. The 65-year-old says he is running on a single-payer healthcare system, stricter environmental regulation, and a plan to switch to totally renewable energy. This is the 22nd campaign for public office and 3rd time running against Cuomo for governor. Hawkins received about 5% of the vote in the 2014 state election.
And Conor, this morning, pretty dry on campus, but as the afternoon progressed, lots of rain.
That's right, the rain really started to come down, and we have Citrus TV weather anchor Nicole Weaving out in the elements. Nicole, what's it like out there?
Thanks, guys. It's currently 51 degrees out here and really feels similar to what your thermometer would read, probably because of the 83% humidity, but those temperatures are going to drop a little bit, getting a little bit chillier down to about 40 degrees. And now when you woke up this morning, it was pretty sunny and clear skies, but that's about the last of the sun that we're going to be seeing for a couple days. Some rain has now moved in. It's only about a drizzle right now, but there is a chance for some heavier rain within the next couple hours. But there's also a dry patch possibly moving in right around 10 p.m. This is certainly not the last of the rain we're going to be seeing. I'll tell you how long these April showers are going to stick around in my full weather forecast.
Thanks, Nicole. Coming up after the break, President Trump is reconsidering his position on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Find out what's making him reconsider.
And commercial flights are resuming between Egypt and Moscow, the first since a 2015 plane bombing. All that and more after the break.
The bottle couldn't dream that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
We have some breaking news out of Oklahoma. After 8 days, the Oklahoma teacher walkout has come to an end.
The walkout originally began after the Oklahoma Education Association announced it was seeking a $10,000 pay raise over 3 years. It originally began on April 2nd.
The protest ended today after the Oklahoma Education Association realized that no significant legislation would come from the protests. We will update you on any new information in this story.
And President Trump's nominee for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo faced the Senate Foreign Relations Committee at a confirmation hearing today.
The outgoing CIA director was asked questions about the Mueller investigation, North Korea, and the Michael Cohen raid.
Pompeo says he does believe Russia interfered in the 2016 election and says he wouldn't resign if Mueller was fired.
Interim Director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Mick Mulvaney, answered questions in front of the Senate Banking Committee earlier today.
Mulvaney did not seem eager to cooperate. Here's what he had to say at the beginning of his statements.
While I have to be here by statute, I don't think I have to answer your questions. If you take a look at the actual statute that requires me to be here, it says that I shall appear before the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs of the Senate.
But Senator Elizabeth Warren, who led the creation of the Bureau, believes Mulvaney is not doing a good job as director.
You've taken obvious joy in talking about how the agency will help banks a lot more than it will help consumers, and how upset this must make me. But here's what you don't get, Mr. Mulvaney. This isn't about me. You are hurting real people to score cheap political points.
In a surprising move, officials are saying President Trump is reconsidering his stance on the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Senator Pat Roberts says the president asked 2 of his advisors to, quote, take another look at the trade deal. Trump signed an executive order last year to mark a U.S. exit from the TPP, something he promised on the campaign trail.
This past January, the president said he would consider re-entering TPP if the U.S. could achieve a, quote, much better deal.
And the publisher of the National Enquirer paid $30,000 to a former doorman at one of President Trump's New York City buildings in 2015.
The Associated Press reported the doorman, Dino Sanjuadin, was paid to keep quiet about a rumor that the president fathered an illegitimate child with a Trump World Tower employee in the 1980s.
Sanjuadin was paid 8 months before the same publisher paid $150,000 to a former Playboy playmate, Karen McDougal, to keep quiet on her alleged affair with the president.
And French President Emmanuel Macron claims he has proof that the Syrian government used chemical weapons in Syrian forces' attack on the town of Douma.
President Macron did not give evidence or the source of his claim, but reaffirmed his opposition to the use of chemical weapons, which he called, quote, a red line.
The French government is supporting the U.S. and Syrian opposition forces in the ongoing Syrian civil war, which has seen a spike in heated rhetoric from several world leaders.
And Egypt and Russia have resumed direct flights more than 2 years after a suspension in the wake of a bombing that brought down a Russian plane. The 2015 plane bombing killed 224 people.
Egypt Air said a Moscow-bound flight took off from Cairo earlier today. The airline will operate 3 flights a week from Egypt to Russia. And the third business summit of the Americas began today in Peru. Peruvian President Martín Vizcarra emphasized Latin American corruption as a crucial point of discussion for the summit.
Mexico, Canada, and the United States are expected to discuss revamping NAFTA. U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer pulled out of the summit today.
President Trump announced earlier this week that he would not be in attendance. Vice President Mike Pence will be there in his place.
And new developments in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash.
The athletic therapist was confirmed dead and is the 16th person to die. Dana Bronze was 24 and died in a Saskatoon hospital yesterday afternoon.
And there were no updates on the 12 others who remain hospitalized. And coming up, prosecutors consider new charges against disgraced actor Kevin Spacey.
And Citrus TV weather anchor Nicole Weaving is back in studio with her full weather forecast. Stay tuned.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
As I mentioned, it's right around 51 degrees here in Syracuse, and we're seeing very similar temperatures in central New York. Some slightly chillier temperatures up in Rome and Fulton in the lower 40s, where we see some warmer temperatures over in Rochester and Elmira in the low 50s. And now as we talk about our Doppler, as I said, it was raining outside. Now I'm back here in the dry studios of Citrus, but we're seeing some of that rain really like moving through tonight. This is what we'll be seeing tomorrow morning when some rain starts to come back a little bit more sporadically throughout the morning, but should carry throughout most of the day tomorrow. So when you wake up in the morning, there, as we talk about with sunshine, we really won't be seeing too much of it. This morning was really the last of what we're going to be seeing for a little while. Those southern areas seeing the most of it, but over here for us in Syracuse, just all completely gray. So when you wake up in the morning, it'll really be about 42 degrees and warm out throughout most of the day to a higher temperature of 47 later on. And so we'll really see some morning rain. It'll carry on throughout the day, not really stopping until late at night tomorrow. But the good thing is that wind will be low, right around 55 miles per hour. So really none of that sideways rain that sometimes Syracuse can be known for. And then we have game day on Saturday when Syracuse men's lacrosse takes on North Carolina, and that high for Saturday will be about 42 degrees, but I would suggest that you bring an umbrella to the game because whether or not it's raining before or after, there will be definitely some rain on Saturday throughout the day, and it's definitely going to be cooling down as well, so make sure that you're wearing a jacket because those temperatures really still aren't up into that full spring temperature that we're used to seeing. And then as we take a look at our 5-day forecast, it's just more and more rain. So sad, not really that much sunshine. So those higher temperatures, as I mentioned, tomorrow with 47, and then it really stays kind of moderately in those mid to low 40s, and then even 50 degrees on Monday, and some more rain again then on Tuesday. And now the storm names Harvey, Irma, Maria, Nate are being retired this year. The World Meteorology Association announced their retirement after 3 of the hurricanes, Harvey, Irma, Maria, were very destructive and killed dozens of people in the United States late last summer. The storms caused more than $200 billion in damage.
Los Angeles prosecutors are considering charging actor Kevin Spacey with sexual assault. In the past few months, over 30 men accused the actor of varying degrees of sexual misconduct. The LA County Sheriff's Department says they began to investigate Spacey's case at the end of last year. Spacey lost several acting roles as a result of the allegations.
And tighter background checks are coming to Uber. The company will now be running checks on their drivers every year. Previously, they were checked every 2 years. The company Checker will be conducting the searches. The checks look at the driver's record for the past 7 years. In addition, Uber does not allow drivers who have had a conviction for a felony, violent crime, sexual offenses, or are registered sex offenders.
Coming up in sports, Syracuse men's lacrosse looks to close out a perfect regular season in the ACC. Plus, tons of baseball around the state takes place tonight. Stay with us for more on that.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Hey, Hard, what's this? That's my resignation letter. You're resigning. Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me. Okay, but remember, it's not what you say. It's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Good evening, I'm Jake Marsh with sports. Coming off a tough loss to Cornell just 2 days ago, it's a quick turnaround for the Syracuse men's lacrosse team. The Orange tries to complete a perfect regular season in ACC play when North Carolina comes to the Carrier Dome Saturday. And make no mistake, SU's prep schedule changes when there isn't as much time to prepare for an opponent. Head coach John Desko explains.
Well, a little more condensed. You know, normally after a game, we would show a lot more film of the last opponent and kind of dissect that and show the guys what we thought we did well and what we didn't. It had to be very short yesterday with that, and went right back into Carolina to see what how they play offensively and defensively and get a start on scouting with them yesterday. And today will be all Carolina, and then tomorrow's pregame, so it's we don't do a lot of scouting the day before the game.
For what it's worth, Syracuse has already won one game this year, coming off a short turnaround. The Orange beat Notre Dame and Hobart in a span of just 4 days. And it's a lax doubleheader on Saturday against the team in Carolina Blue. The ladies try to avenge their loss in last year's ACC championship game with its first win in conference play this year. That's right, Gary Gates' squad is 0-4 against ACC foes in 2018. Syracuse is coming off a double overtime heartbreaker at Virginia Tech last weekend. And the greatest rivalry in all of baseball added another chapter on the diamond last night. There were shades of 2004 at Fenway Park last night when the Yankees battled the Red Sox. The benches cleared twice, and there was a big-time brawl when New York's Tyler Austin charged the mound after getting plunked by pitcher Joe Kelly, who was suspended for 6 games, while Austin sits for 5. That was just announced a couple of minutes ago. But the rubber match between these two foes takes place tonight. Sonny Gray tries to steal the series in Boston for the Yanks, while Rick Porcello puts his undefeated record on the line for the first-place Sox. And down in the minors, the wait is over. The Syracuse Chiefs are finally playing their first home game at MBT Bank Stadium. Maybe. Syracuse is 4-2 this season and begins a 4-game series with Norfolk. Right now, Mother Nature, though, is trying to drag this one out, and it's a rain delay until further notice. Meanwhile, the Chiefs take their home field tonight without one of the team's top players. Outfielder Victor Robles has a hyperextended left elbow, and it's unclear when he will be playing again. Robles is one of the top prospects in all of baseball and hurt himself trying to make a catch on Monday night in Rochester. With the regular season now over in the NBA, the Knicks waste no time in preparing for the next year. New York fired head coach Jeff Hornacek earlier this morning. The Knicks went 60-104 under Hornacek. That was the 6th worst stretch in NBA history over that time period. Former Grizzlies coach David Fizdale, old Cavs coach David Blatt, and ESPN analyst Mark Jackson are among the candidates for the gig. The Knicks may not be a part of the 2018 postseason, but 16 teams are, and the NBA playoffs are right around the corner. In the East, that is not a typo. LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers are the 4 seed in the conference, but don't worry, the Kings squad is still the overwhelming favorite in Vegas to make the finals. In the West, the Warriors failed to earn the top slot in the competitive West as well, and with Steph Curry fighting for the injury bug, it may be a bit more difficult for the defending champs to get back to the promised land. While we have to wait until the weekend for the NBA playoffs to begin, the race for the Stanley Cup is underway. 5 games on tap tonight, including the Devils. New Jersey heads down to Florida to face the Lightning in Game 1. The defending Western Conference champion Nashville Predators also kick things off with Colorado later this evening.
Sports reporter Jake Marsh, thanks so much, Jake. Now, you talked about that benches clearing brawl, the second of the week in baseball. Yeah. What do you think of that?
Well, it's crazy, and like I said, it makes it like the beginning of the century when the Yankees and Red Sox got at it in the ALCS. 04 Aaron Boone walk-off. Now he's the manager for the Yankees, so it's nice to see the rivalry is alive and well.
Well, it certainly is nice to see that, if, maybe a little less actual fighting going forward.
Yeah, no one got hurt, so that's always good.
That's the important part.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where do cats go on vacation? New York.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Reality TV star Khloe Kardashian is officially a mother. The Kardashian delivered a baby girl at 4 a.m. this morning with family members Kourtney, Kim, and Kris by her side.
Her boyfriend, who allegedly cheated on her just 5 days ago, was also present. The baby is currently unnamed and is the third baby born into the Kardashian-Jenner family this year. Now, they're the most famous family in America right now. What are you naming the baby?
Well, I gotta say, I think, it's gotta start with a K or a C, get a little alliteration in there, maybe have another Kim, another Khloe, Catherine with a K. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well, here's the thing, with the NBA playoffs starting, like I just said, if the Cavs win the whole thing, the trophy is the Larry O'Brien trophy, so maybe
True.
Larry.
You also have those obscure names in their family like North and Stormy, so I mean, they could totally go for something like out that nobody else would think to pick.
They have had some weird things. Jack, we haven't heard from you.
Now, you just said Cavaliers, and I just thought of the letter K in front of the word Cleveland. What do you think?
Cleveland Kardashian. Wow.
And that's all the time we have for tonight. For more, be sure to check us out at CitrusTV.com. For Conor, Wight, I'm Jack Watson. Have a great night.